It was the worst possible time, with the first big wave of 20,000 Chinese in 1852. Easy surface mining was ending. Now it was necessary to rock mine with pick and axe, or hydraulic mine with tons of water shooting down a hillside to wash the soil for gold. No more freewheeling individual miners dreaming of striking it rich. Big money and large water companies moved in looking for a pool of wage workers. They found them in disillusioned, bitter men who had just lost their claims to the big companies.
These few 100,000 white gold prospectors who suddenly got displaced, looking for scapegoats between these disgruntled, unemployed ex-gold miners and opportunistic politicians like the governor of California, John Bigelow at that time, tried to link these two together and get himself reelected. Very effective, and that's the beginning of the anti-Chinese movement and the use of immigrants as scapegoats, which to this day we're still seeing.
Sure, we work for the big companies, and white miners hate us. They don't want to work for somebody else, just for themselves. We work, save money, pay back our ticket to America, and we work for pay. But other miners think we are just coolies, like slaves.
The Chinese who came to the western part of Canada and the United States were not part of the coolie trade. However, they performed a function that was quite similar to what the coolies who went to Latin America did. And these kinds of work all had one goal, and the goal was to develop, the Western Hemisphere in this case, using labor that was non-white.
And anxieties, fears, tensions about black people get picked up and placed on Chinese people, and it looks in the 1850s like the United States is going to create for itself a second, just as terrible set of racial dilemmas on the West Coast. You're bringing in a subordinated, non-white population, and there's going to be hell to pay for that.
Different in race, language, and culture, the Chinese were the object of continuous attack. Yet their being Chinese was exactly the source of the strength and confidence they needed to play their part in the making of America.
Someone says, "Cousins, there's a big chance for us nearby. What is out there? We may have good luck there. Let's go." And we'd be off, bands of us together. The land, the plants, the trees, we never see before. And we bring seeds and a few plants from China. Our tree of heaven grows fast, grows everywhere here. Bamboo from our village grows well here too. In California, we are in Weaverville, Coloma, Dutch Flat, Grass Valley, Sonora, Angels Camp, Hornitos. And out of California, into other parts of the West, Jackass Creek, Oregon, John Day, Oregon, Baker City, Oregon. We settled into Boise, Idaho, Twin Falls, Idaho, Butte, Montana, Rock Springs, Wyoming, Deadwood, South Dakota. One year, our Chinese Fire Brigade wins the #1 prize for being most fast.
We know where they were and how they lived. Sometimes only a pile of rocks, but they are the telltale signs of their way of working together and their distinctive way of looking at life.
When I see this site, you know, I'm just amazed at the amount of work that went on here. This is over 60 acres of hand-stacked rocks. Each one of these rocks was moved by hand. It wasn't moved by a backhoe or a shovel or a bulldozer. This is a very significant site.
Yes, gangs of us moved and stacked all these stones to clear the ground and search the soil below for gold. For 30 years, we moved these stones back and forth, mining the land piece by piece, not allowed by law to buy new claims. What others gave up, we reworked, and were well rewarded for our patience. Our ways of work would change from place to place. In some places, we dug deep into the earth, down to the rock. With high walls all around us, we placed stones in the wall so they would not fall down on us. And to these many trenches, we brought floods of water gathered from nearby streams to wash through the soil. From the sky, a bird sees that our trenches look like the bones of a very large fish. But there was always one place we did not dig up. In harmony with feng shui, wind and water, our belief in the forces of nature, we picked a gathering place where we cooked and ate so that it would face south, with some trees behind to protect us, and near a stream. This circle of earth where we gathered each day, we did not touch, no matter how much gold might be underneath. We arrived in winter. It was snowing. We never saw snow before. After we stand mining in cold water all day, we are not too tired to build this temple. Here, we are Chinese. We are at home. Great deity Bak Tai, we have carried you on our shoulders up here into the forest. Protect us from the floods. Guang Gong, powerful warrior, artful strategist, remind us of our courage. Guanyam, goddess of mercy, protect our families in China. With all of you here, with this place to gather our countrymen, we can prosper, we can endure, we can survive everything. 3 times we built this temple. 2 times they burnt it down. This one we will keep. Why do we stay here? Of course, everybody hopes to get rich, but rich or poor, all the same. We all must send money home to our families in the village. Yam Sui Siyun, when you drink the water, you should remember the source. You know how we send money home? First, you look for a letter writer on the street or in a Chinese store. Tell him to write only good things, nothing bad happen. Then give the letter and money to the head man at a Chinese store here who does business with a Chinese store near our village. Chinese merchants all know each other from business, even across the ocean. Somebody knows our family there. Somebody will read the letter to our family. And if we do not send money, our family tells them to find our kinsmen here to scold us. Their letter to us, last words always say, "When are you coming home?"
唔使擔心啦，我會快返嚟啦。
But some of us will never go home. If we die away from home, we will be buried here. Our district associations keep records, promising none of us will be lost. And after 10 years, they bring up the bones, counting each and every one of them, and send them home to China. Lock Yip Kway Gun, the fallen leaf returns to its roots. Reunited with our families, our graves will be cared for, and we will be remembered generation to generation.
From every immigrant group, Italians, Greeks, Poles, about one immigrant in 3 in the 19th century, not Chinese immigrants, about one immigrant in 3 went back. Some went back more than once. So that the Chinese are different because they're perceived as being as a different race, and they're different because they are the first group to be systematically excluded by law.
People frequently think of Asians as sojourners, as temporary migrants to America, who came here to work the land, but who always imagined themselves to return to Asia, as if they didn't really contribute to America in any fundamental way. So Asians are always perpetual foreigners, as if Asians never built homes here in America.
It is very hard to bring a wife and family to Gold Mountain. Our women do not leave home, and they would not like it here where people do not respect us. It is harsh and dangerous. We ourselves are always on the move, and American laws single out our Chinese women to exclude them from coming. Even so, without our families, we, community of men, make this a place like home. So few women came here, and when they did, the Bakwai took away their Chinese names, just like they call us Ah Sam, Ah Jim, Ah Fong, Ah this, Ah that. They called our women China Annie, China Susie, China Polly, or most of all, China Mary.
China Mary was a generic name given to Chinese women by Caucasians who couldn't remember their Chinese names and who couldn't tell them apart anyway.
Her real name was Ah Yun. She came here as a prostitute and then became a cook. She was always with a Chinese man known as Mormon Charlie. The Mormons seemed to accept them both. She lived to be over 100 years old, and she is buried as China Mary.